We are on to week 8, and we are here with the predictions for this week. And to get started, the teams that are on a bye this week, we have the Ravens and Raiders, who will not be playing this week. And so, yeah, let's get started. On Thursday Night Football, you have the Packers facing the Cardinals, and I'm going with the Cardinals on this one because the Packers are going to be missing Alan Lazard and Devontae Adams because, they tested positive and everything. That means the workload for, Aaron Jones and Tunyon's going to have to be much bigger than it is. And the way that the Cardinals have been playing all year long, nearly unstoppable, nearly unstoppable, basically. They're going to be hard to beat this week, even if, Adams was playing. So I'm going with the Cardinals on this one, and a game that, I still hope is going to be good because I think this is going to be one of the best Thursday night football games we're going to have, all year and maybe for a few years. Next, we have the Panthers and the Falcons. I'm going with the Falcons on this one. The Panthers are not a good team. They won their first 3 games, and then they, proceeded to lose the next 4. They're just not very good. Sam Darnold has been playing pretty bad recently. We were high on him for the first few weeks, but, he's fallen off dramatically because, he beat bad teams whenever he was on that winning streak. So with the Panthers, I just don't think they're very good. And the Falcons, I don't trust them as a team. They're playing decent football right now. They almost choked last week against the Dolphins. They had a 13-point lead in the fourth quarter, but they were able to come out with a victory. And Kyle Pitts has been playing amazing football recently. And I think they have a tight end for that franchise for a while. But yeah, I think the Falcons are just overall a better team. Even though I don't think this game is A, going to be very good, B, very many people are going to watch, and C, the Panthers are bad. They were a fluky 3-0 team, so I have the Falcons winning. Next, we have the Titans-Colts. The Titans won their first meeting of the season, and I think both teams have been playing some pretty good football recently. You have the Colts, who played the Ravens very tough, and then in the fourth quarter kind of fell off quite a bit, and then you have last week a couple weeks ago against the Texans, where they just dominated them. And then this week against the 49ers, where they played some pretty good football and some bad weather, and I think Carson Wentz had a very good game. And then you have the Titans, who, lost to the Jets, but then they beat the Bills and the Chiefs in back-to-back weeks. So I think both teams are going to be playing some pretty good football right now. The record for the Colts is not very good, but I think if they can continue playing the way they are, their record's going to get better, and the Titans have just been playing fantastic. Derrick Henry has been a beast all season. He didn't have his greatest week against the Chiefs last week, but I think it's because they were trying to sell out and stop the run. But A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, they finally had a good, showing last week. But I think it's just going to come down to Derrick Henry this week, and I think the Titans will pull it off with Derrick Henry having a pretty solid game. Next, we have Dolphins Bills. I'm going with the Bills. The Bills destroyed them earlier in this season. I'm pretty sure it'll be the same thing. Now, I don't think Tua played in the earlier game, but I think he'll play this one. I think Tua will have a solid game. I'm one of the few people that is a fan of Tua, and I think he's played, he hasn't had a chance, and I think he has played well, the last couple games. But yeah, the Dolphins defense and everything else, the Dolphins have been very disappointing, and the Bills, yeah, they just lost to the Titans on Monday Night Football, a couple weeks ago, but it would be all right. The Titans are showing they're a tough team, and so I have the Bills winning this in pretty dominant fashion. Next, we have the Bengals Jets. I'm going with the Bengals, and the Bengals are lucky. They get 2 bye weeks this year. What are the Jets? They're so bad. The Jets are so bad that they had to sign Joe Flacco because Zach Wilson was injured. But the Jets got absolutely mollywopped by the Patriots last week. They got destroyed. They are not good at all. In all honesty, they might be worse than last year. They're bad. So yeah, the Jets are pretty bad. The Bengals, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, that defense, they've been playing fantastic football all season long. Their defense is actually, the Bengals defense is actually one of the top scoring defenses. They're not even giving up 20 points a game, which is really rare in today's NFL. So their defense has been playing well. Their offense is obviously, a very fun watch, and I think the Bengals will win this game convincingly. Next, we have the Steelers and Browns. I'm picking the Steelers, but I don't know what to make of this game. I think the Steelers' defense is really, really, really good. TJ Watt, the last game they played on Sunday, Night Football against the Seahawks a couple of weeks ago, he had he made it known that he was worth every penny. And I think the Steelers defense is very good. And I mean, with the Browns injuries and everything else, I'm not sure who's playing as I'm recording this. I'm recording on Wednesday before really we know most of the injury news. I'm at least early on Wednesday. But yeah, I don't think the Steelers or the Browns injuries is what I think is gonna hold them back, because they're playing a much better defense than the Broncos. That's just the truth. And so I don't think this game is going to be very pretty, because the Steelers offense, I still think one-dimensional. They rely way too much on Najee Harris to do everything. And then Big Ben's not really playing his best football. He played all right against the Seahawks, but against the Seahawks and a terrible defense that the Seahawks had, you would expect them to play and score many more points than what they did. And for the Browns, they played well for the situation that they're in, but they're playing an elite defense this week against the Steelers, and I don't think they can replicate it again. Even after Dearness Johnson and if they get Chubb and Hunt back, they have great receivers and, they have a great running core. But I don't think it's going to be enough against the Steelers, because I think the Steelers will just, they'll do enough. Their defense is going to hold the Browns, so I think the Steelers will win this game. Next, we have the Eagles-Lions, and I'm actually picking the Lions, shockingly enough. I think this is the first week that the Lions finally do it, I fell off the bandwagon one week, and then I'm back on it this week. But I think the Lions are a tough team. They're the best 0-7 team that I've ever seen. They're in every game. Like last week against the Rams, they brought every trick in the book they could to try to win that game. Fell short. But good thing they're playing the Eagles this week, because the Eagles are not a good team. The Eagles' offense, basically in a summary, is they have one good offensive drive to start the game or somewhere early in the first half, and then they get a garbage time touchdown. Like, the Eagles are so bad. And the Lions, I think the Lions are personally better than the Eagles right now, because their defense is playing tough. They let Cooper Kupp last week have a massive game, but their defense plays tough for Dan Campbell. Their offense is doing everything they possibly can to try to stay into every game and win them. And I think this is the week that the Lions finally get their first win. Because the Eagles have not been playing very well. They got destroyed by the Raiders last week, and the Lions, if you're going to play a team like the Rams like that, throw everything out there. So I think it's finally the week where the Lions can get their first win. Next, we have Rams-Texans. The Rams are going to win this one probably by 1 million. Whatever the point spread is for this one, I'll take it. Cooper Kupp might have his best game of the season, and this dude has been fantastic already this year. He's quietly being offensive. He might win Offensive Player of the Year. He's having quietly an amazing season. I don't think really people are talking about it enough, because, they're, the quarterback hype that people get is kind of crazy. And then, yeah, if you look at the stat or the odds to win MVP, it's all quarterbacks, which doesn't make sense, because there's some great people out there that are not quarterbacks that are playing really good football. Cooper Kupp, Derrick Henry. If we wanted to throw some defensive players in there, you have Trayvon Diggs, who's an interception machine, but yeah, I think the Texans are just bad. Cooper Kupp is going to have a massive game. I think the Rams themselves are going to have a good game. Aaron Donald might actually get 5 or 6 sacks in this game. It's not going to be close. Rams win. Next, we have 49ers Bears. Khalil Mack, the status of him is unknown, but as of right now, it doesn't look like he's going to be playing, but I could be wrong on that one. But even if he does, the Bears have been a bad team all year. Their offense can't do anything. Justin Fields is not off to a good start at all. The 49ers aren't a very good team, but I just think their defense is way better than the Bears, because the Bears defense gave up 38 points in the first half or something crazy, or 35 in the first half. They were bad last week. Their offense didn't put them in a good situation, but I think Kyle Shanahan, as much flack as he gets, he's not been the best head coach the last few years. He had one good season when he went to the Super Bowl, but I still think, he is a creative play caller. I think he'll do enough to beat the Bears. Their defense is obviously probably going to shut down Justin Fields, because he hasn't been able to do anything. Matt Nagy's not going to be there because he also has the virus, but at the same time, I'm just man, the Bears are a bad football team. And it's going to suck to see the 49ers lose, because if the 49ers lose, they're in some trouble. Even after that game against the Colts last week, they're in trouble. But if they lose to the Bears, they're in some even more trouble, and Kyle Shanahan's going to have to do something different. So I'm going with the 49ers to win this game. But if they lose, it's going to be some problems. Next we have the Patriots Chargers. Originally I had the Chargers, but I changed it to the Patriots for a couple of reasons. One, I really like the way that Mac Jones has been playing, recently. Like last week I know it's the Jets, but he had his, I wouldn't say coming out party because you can't have it against a really bad team. But I think quietly Mac Jones and the Patriots have been playing really well all year. They are in every game. They're competitive in them. And if they're, not competitive, that means they're winning the game. They played the Cowboys close. I know the Texans game wasn't pretty. They played Buccaneers close. They demolished the Jets last week. I think the Patriots are slowly making some strides into becoming a very good team that people are going to start hating a lot very soon. But I think the Patriots are, playing some good football right now. And the Chargers, they're coming off a bye, but they got destroyed by the Ravens. Justin Herbert probably had his worst game of the season, maybe of his career. But I think the Patriots will find a way to win this game. I think the way that the Patriots defense has been playing, I think this is the week that the Patriots can get to 500 and maybe go on a roll and maybe finish the season 11-6, 10-7. I think this is the year that the Patriots are making strides into becoming that team again. Next, we have the Jaguar Seahawks, and I'm actually picking the Jaguars to do this. The Seahawks are so bad without Russell Wilson. Geno Smith, if it wasn't for that big play to DK in that first, within the first 5 minutes of the game, would not have the stat line he did. He had 160 yards or something passing, and all of that came on one, or more than half of that, or half of it came on one play. They're just so bad. They can't move the ball, and they played awful against the Saints. And the Jaguars, they are, I think, coming off a bye, but the last game they played, they beat the Dolphins in London. But I think the Jaguars, I don't think they're a good football team, but Trevor Lawrence has been playing some decent football recently, and a Seahawks defense that's not very good. They stopped the Saints, but the Saints offense is also not very good because it only runs through Alvin Kamara. But I think the Jaguars will win this game because the Seahawks are just so bad without Russell Wilson. Next, you have the Buccaneers and Saints. I'm going with the Buccaneers because the Saints offense, like I just said, literally only relies on Alvin Kamara. And no one can run against the Bucs, so that automatically takes Kamara out with the run, out of the run game. And then the receivers for the Saints, they weren't very good last week. They were dropping passes. Kenny Stills, Kevin White, they were dropping passes. And then Michael Thomas is out. So the Saints, and then their defense, their defense is very good, but, they're playing the Buccaneers who, they've just been playing great football. They're 6-1, and at this point, no one's talking about them because they basically expect it, which I expect it too. They have Tom Brady, who is, for me, after watching the Manning cast and just the last couple of years, he's slowly starting to become a guy that I like. But the Buccaneers, I think, are going to win this. It may be close. I don't really know. Score-wise, I'm not sure, but I still think the Buccaneers are going to handle their business against a divisional opponent and win this game. Next, we have Washington and Broncos. I don't think either one of these teams are very good, to be honest. I think Heineke might have a good game. Teddy Bridgewater might also have a good game because neither defense is very good. I don't really expect much from this game. I think both teams are bad. But yeah, I'm picking Washington to win this game. Next, we have Sunday Night Football, which I think will be fun. We have the Cowboys and the Vikings. And, the Cowboys have been playing fantastic all year. Now, Dak is injured. I don't know how much that's going to limit him in that game on Sunday. Hopefully not much because I want to see him play because he's been playing amazing all year long. But they did just come off a bye, and then they just beat the Patriots the week before. So they have been, playing some great football. They got the bye. Dak was able to rest up, so I hope he can come back and play. But I'm going to go with the Cowboys to win for a couple of reasons. Their offense is very good. They have a two-headed running attack in Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard. They have CeeDee Lamb. Obviously they have Amari Cooper has been playing well. Their tight end, Dalton Schultz, I think is his name. I'm sorry if I'm blanking on that one. He's been playing really well. When Michael Gallup comes back, the Cowboys' offense is stacked, and their defense is really good. You have Micah Parsons, who's been playing good. Trayvon Diggs, who is just an interception machine. I heard that the Vikings are going to try to exploit him because they think that he's shaky in coverage and stuff like that, but I think Trayvon Diggs is just an interception machine. I think it's going to be a long day for the Vikings, but I think the Vikings can keep it close because they're competitive in all their games, but they just can't shut out teams because the Vikings' issue is they get a lead, play conservative in the second half, and then all of a sudden Kirk Cousins has to drive them down to get their kicker into range for the last second field goal, or they have to win in overtime on a touchdown. So that is an issue for the Vikings this year, is they can't close out games. That's been their big. Well, they can win them, they can't close out a game. Like, they're having to score on the last drive, which isn't good. But I mean, I think the Vikings have really good weapons: Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson. Kirk Cousins is playing decent football this year. He's had a bad game or two this year, but I think this game has potential to be fun. Just the weapons on both of these offenses hopefully can light up the scoreboard, and we have a fun Sunday night football game. And then on Monday we have the Giants-Chiefs. Again, this is me being a Chiefs homer, and I'm picking them to win. But they're also playing the Giants, so if they don't win, the Chiefs are in deep trouble. If they don't beat the Giants, I'll be honest, their season is probably over. Like, I know it's the NFL. The competition level is pretty. It's like the level of difference of competition is not very high, but they're playing the Giants. If they can't beat them, they're in trouble. Like I said, they can't lose this one. The Giants have lots of injuries, but the Chiefs' biggest issue is that they can't get a pass rush. That hurts their secondary, and their offense the offense looks like it's still going for the home run ball way too much. But I'm picking the Chiefs to win this game, and if the Chiefs don't win it, it's gonna be a long, long season as a Chiefs fan.